GetEthos.com. GetEthos.com.
The new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, the golf guru, Dennis Silvers in studio. Of course, we've been talking a lot about this Matt Kuchar situation, stiffing his caddy, and then as a PR move, then finally pays him $50,000. Just a ridiculous situation. So we had a few callers that called in. One guy by the name of Steve who called in, and the reason why I called him a prick is because I believe what Matt Kuchar did is that same thing. I believe Matt Kuchar is a prick for what he did. And then Steve came in a way, defending Matt Kuchar, saying, well, what if Kuchar got into a car wreck or something and his career ended? No, I believe Steve defending Matt Kuchar, you are a prick.
And I will say this, Steve, Lloyd's of London insures everything.
Yeah.
And there is no doubt in my mind that Matt Kuchar and every other decent PGA Tour player has a major insurance policy on their career.
Exactly, but Steve has no knowledge of that. And then another...
No, you know what? I hate to tell you the premium I pay Lloyd's of London on my package, man. I mean, it's...
I bet you pay a lot.
Well, we know Evan Stone does.
Well, next time I tip somebody 1%, I'll just use the excuse, hey, look, I want to make sure my family has money in case I get into a car accident or something. And then Jeff called in with his kids in the back seat. God forbid I call somebody a moron with Jeff's ears. God forbid his kids hear something like that. I bet the guy probably swears at his wife every day, but God forbid somebody says moron on the radio. Let's just throw him off the radio. The guy's going to lose his show. Yeah. I hope Jeff loses his job, for that phone call. I hope he does. Right. Anyway, let's take some more calls. 257-5396. Let's go to John. John, thanks for calling in. How are you?
What's up, John?
Hey, John. I'm sorry. It's John here. Brian, I got to say this is one of the first times, one of the few times I've agreed with you 100% with Matt.
All right.
Makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to create a public relations nightmare.
Right.
The guy is totally in the wrong. Mm-hmm. And, it's just not a way you want to present yourself in front of the public because so much of the PGA Tour is image.
So, John... I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, John. I'll let you finish. But do you think it's fair for me to call Matt Kuchar a prick?
Okay, that was the one thing I wanted to point out just to you.
Okay.
And I understand that, you pay to be on the radio, and it's your show, and you can do whatever you want.
Actually, I get paid, but that's another story. Go ahead.
Okay, well, we can discuss that another time.
Well, no, we don't have to discuss it. I don't pay one. I'm paid to be on the radio. We don't have to discuss it.
Yeah. You have sponsors paying you. KDWN
I personally. Okay, well, you seem to know everything about radio, John, which is nice.
Well,
I've been in the business.
Hold on. Radio.
Okay, well, I've been in the business 20 years. I've always been paid to do this. I've never paid to do anything. So go ahead, John. You seem to know everything, but go ahead. I'll let you keep going.
No, I'm just making a point that
please do.
The name calling is just, I would say, a little less than appropriate.
Well, guess what?
Family hour.
If you don't like it, then why don't you just go to church instead of listening to my show? How about that?
No,
I'm serious.
It's just a friendly, it's not a criticism towards you.
No, it's not a criticism at all. Okay, so if someone acts like a moron, just don't call them a moron in your life. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, but when you go after attacking a kid, when the kids are in
I wasn't attacking the kids.
What's up with that?
I wasn't attacking the kids at all.
What's up with that?
Attacking the kid's father.
Yes.
Moron.
Who attacked who first? Who attacked who first?
He attacked you first. Schaefer is not going to appreciate that, and I can tell you 100%.
Okay,
That's
sure.
all.
Okay,
you know what, Brian? Your show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the criticism. You know what? I'm going to change. Thank you for the call. All right, I'm going to completely change what we do here just because of you. I'm going to be just goody two-shoes, Mr. Nice Guy. Let me tell you something. For every person like you and every person like Jeff that doesn't like it if I call somebody a moron, there's 100 people not like you. So I'm going to listen to them instead of listening to you. What do you think about that? You seem to know everything about radio. You know everything about my career. I bet you've never even worked in the business. Thank you for the criticism, but it means absolutely nothing to me.
And I want to clear up something also. Brian's had a long career in radio. He's never paid for it. He's always been paid for being on the radio. The only thing Brian pays for is sex, from my understanding.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Let's take the next call. Let's go to Louie. Louie, thanks for calling in. How are you?
What's up, Louie?
You guys are crazy tonight.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, Louie. What's on your mind?
Oh, this is fun. Hey, look, guys. when I was a kid, I was a caddy back in Pennsylvania, and I caddied for some of the richest people in the world. And I'll tell you what, you're right. The cheapest people in the world are the golfers. But let me tell you something about this Kuchar guy. You see, he got a placement caddy from the course because his caddy couldn't make it.
Right.
And he won with the course caddy.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, see, when you're a caddy, you got to learn how to every green, how it runs, where the pin placement is,
right.
the way the wind's blowing. You got to be a doctor of that course.
Of course, and obviously this guy being a local did a great job. Otherwise, he wouldn't have won the tournament, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
He would know more than the caddy.
Exactly.
Regular caddy.
Right. Right.
A regular caddy usually goes 2-3 days before the tournament starts.
Exactly.
Right. And this guy's been there for years and years.
Right. This guy's a local caddy. He knows every contour of the greens.
Yeah. He's worth 10%. Are you kidding?
I agree.
He's why that cheapskate won.
I agree.
I wouldn't call him a cheap, what you call him. But in my days, we used to call like a cheap PR. We kept it clean.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
I hear you. Louis, unfortunately for me, I just tell it like it is, and I say what's on my mind. And, people are, as you know, people are going to agree, people are going to disagree. But I think anyone that defends this $5,000, to me, it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
It's pitiful.
Louis,
you're 1,000% right.
Louis,
Kuchner, nobody should ever caddy for him again because who would want to caddy for an ignorant guy like that?
Louis, oh my God, Louis, you called somebody ignorant. A couple of my callers might not like that very much.
Yeah.
Louis,
well,
thanks.
It's true. All right,
Louis,
he's a cheap PR.
You are 100%. You are 100% right, Louis, and I appreciate the call, and I also appreciate your perspective. Thank you for the call.
Thanks a lot, Louis.
Brian, you know what? I'm surprised it hasn't come up yet. I really, really am, because this gentleman is Mexican. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that somebody hasn't tried to invoke a racial side to this thing. If he was American, probably wouldn't happen. He took advantage of a Mexican guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm really surprised that somebody hasn't raised that, JD.
Honestly, I'm starting to wonder because he brought up a great point about this local caddy really knowing that course. Kuchar's regular caddy would have known maybe 25% of what this caddy knew. Maybe Kuchar knows that this guy really helped him win that tournament. That's why he won the tournament. That's why he didn't pay him as much, because he's kind of marginalizing him for that.
Right. Yeah, fair enough. 257-5396. 257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Dan. Dan, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hey, good. How you doing, man?
What's up, Dan?
Doing good. What's up?
Hey, man, that guy was a moron, by the way. And sorry he had to be so stupid with his kids in the car, but hey, man, I gotta tell you, dude, I used to work at the hotel where the Raiders trained back in the day with Lyle Alzado and
wow.
and all. And
what did you do, Dan?
More money.
What did you do, Dan?
Some old lady in Oxnard they trained.
Okay.
Right.
Wow.
I got more money taking some old lady to the mall for 2 hours from New York.
Really?
Than I did for taking those guys around looking for hookers and cocaine all night.
So can you get Dan? That's really funny. So can you give me a name for somebody that stiffed you? I don't know if you're allowed to. I don't want to put you in a bad spot, but we'd love to hear.
Shit, I don't work there anymore.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Watch the language. Watch the language. Okay, watch the language. So
can you?
That's okay. Give me some names.
Lyle Alzado stiffed me.
Who?
Lyle Alzado.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me exactly what happened. Give us the story.
I drove him around for 4 hours, nightclub bar, and brought him back to the hotel, to his suite, and he said, okay, thank you, have a good night. And that's it.
He didn't give you $1?
Not one penny, bro.
Are you
I used
kidding
to get at
me?
least $5 to $10 for taking firewood up to people's rooms.
Oh my goodness!
God.
Anybody else that you can remember?
I got a good one. You know John Peters?
Who?
John Peters.
Yeah.
John Peters. Yes.
He's only famous because he slept with that ugly hairdresser.
Right.
Yes.
The Batman guy.
Yes, I remember.
Right?
Yes. So what happened?
He ordered a Harley Davidson from Bartell's in Hollywood with a kickstart. And I don't know why he'd order a kickstart, because he's built like a woman. But he kicked it one time. It didn't start. He kicked it over in the driveway. Called Bartell's to come pick it up. But he stiffed my buddy, who was a plumber, for 5 Gs.
Oh.
Who completed the work. And my friend actually wore a plaque
the Oscars that year that said John Peters stiffed me
Oh, no.
for $5,000.
That's
and he sued
hilarious. That's
John
hilarious.
Peters sued my buddy for defamation, lost, but he spent 40 times the $5,000 that he owed my friend.
Right. If he just paid him, he would. Oh, that's a great story. Well, good.
Right.
I'm glad that Peters lost all that money. Hey, Dan, I appreciate your perspective, my man. You know what? We're going to call Peters a moron. I hope people aren't offended by that call in.
Absolutely. Can we say in stereo sound?
Yeah.
Peters is a moron.
Yes.
So
Dan, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
The moral of the story is Peter's stiff.
Yes. That is the moral of
Peter's
the story.
stiff, yeah.
Yes, and I have no problem calling out people like that do things like that, like a Matt Kuchar. 257-5396, 702-257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Fernando. Fernando, thanks for calling in.
God save us tonight with all these phone calls. Holy moly. Hey, I want to go to the sports section and talk about the Vegas Golden Knights. Last night's performance.
Yeah, I mean that was
What are you guys' views on the Knights on what they should do? Trade
that's
a defenseman or
good question, Fernando.
The finals.
Well, a guy like a Neal that was on this team last year, and there are a few other guys I can name. They were ferocious, and there was something about the chemistry of the team last year. I don't sense that the chemistry is there this year, and I'm not going to put it on Fleury either. Like he did, he's made some mistakes. There's no question about it. He's not playing the hockey the last month that he played last year, or the beginning of this year, or the first half of the year. I just think there's some chemistry issues on this team, and you know what? That's not anybody's fault. Things happen. But look, I think losing Neal was huge. I wasn't against letting the guy go. I thought he was a huge part of their success last year, even though he wasn't scoring 50 goals. So I think they have a lot of chemistry issues going there. They're still a playoff team, but they're not at that tier that they were last year, Fernando, and I don't think they're going to get there.
I wish they would have kept Tatar and
Perron. What about Perron? Yeah, Perron was a huge part of the team. So, Fernando, the easy question, the easy answer I'm giving you is just that there's some chemistry issues there, and it's tough. It's tough to be at that same level year in and year out. They just don't have it this year. They're still a good hockey team. They're not as good as the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I could probably name 10 other teams, but they're still a playoff team, and that's still something to be proud of in year 2 of an expansion franchise.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right, have a good weekend.
All right. Thank you, Fernando. All right. Have a good one, buddy. Always love it when Fernando calls. 257-5396 again to call. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Joe. Joe, thanks for calling in. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. How you guys doing?
Good. What's on your
Doing
mind?
well, Joe.
Well, I tell you, you guys got you guys hit a nerve when you talk about tipping. I'm a cab driver, yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And I think that what people need to start doing, like people in the service industry, myself included, we need to say we need to start speaking up a little more about these issues about people not tipping. We got to call them out on it.
I agree. That's what I'm trying to do, Joe. I agree.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys bringing it out. I hope that we don't have to agree on everything, right?
Of course not.
But at least if we can, speak our minds, and that then at least we could be heard.
So,
right?
Joe, can I ask you, how many years have you been a cab driver?
Over 10 years.
So, Joe, give me an example of the hell that you have to go through when you provide good service. That's the key word. You provide good service. Clearly, this caddy provided a good service. The guy won the golf tournament. He won $1.3 million. So you provide good service. Give me an example of an everyday occurrence. I would imagine you probably go through this almost every day, right, when you're out there working hard. And by the way, being a cab driver or an Uber driver is not an easy job that people think it is. It's very mentally tiring. So tell me, give me an example of a daily thing that you have to go through with someone stiffing you.
Well, it happens every night.
Right.
And we really got to come up with a solution on how to address this issue, especially here in Vegas, because as a cab driver, man, I'm dying.
And I would imagine Uber and Lyft have hurt your business, right?
Definitely.
A great deal.
Yeah.
Right?
They're taking up business from not just the cabs, but the limos, the buses.
Yeah.
So
transportation, I understand their ridership is down. And, I have no problems with competition, man, but let's make it fair,
Right.
Have you ever thought about moving over to Lyft or Uber?
There's no way I'm going to put myself and my family in that position. You know how much the commercial insurance alone is going to be?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot.
A lot.
That's a good point. I hear a lot of the drivers say that. Yeah. So what do you think the answer is? See, here's the issue. If you give a flat tipping rate of, let's just say, 5%, would you have a problem with that?
Absolutely, because the government, Uncle Sam, taxes me 13%.
So what do you think? Because I don't know. I'm not a professional when it comes to this stuff. I try to take care of people if they provide a good service. 20% on a dinner tip, or a cab driver, same deal. So what do you think is the answer, and what do you think is a good tip for a cab driver?
Well, let me just say this: that if the driver is courteous, safe, friendly, and you think that he did a great job, you start off with $5, man. Even if the ride is 10,
right? Yeah, I think that's fair.
If he makes you laugh and you feel great and safe and that you appreciate his service, heck, if the ride's $20 and there's 4 of you, what's it going to hurt if you give him 40?
Well, I mean, I think that's a little high. I'm not going to lie to you. I think a $5 tip on a $20 ride is a decent tip, and maybe you might think I'm cheap by saying that. I don't know. I think that's 25%.
No, I'm not saying.
Okay.
Saying, what's cheap,
that's what I. If the drive is $20 or around that vicinity, I like to tip the driver $5.
Oh yeah, minimum.
Same thing. Yeah, same thing.
Like you.
Same thing with if I go to have breakfast with a friend, and breakfast is pretty inexpensive. Say I go to Denny's, for example, and the bill's like $20, right? These the wait staff, the waitresses and waiters, they're trying to make a living. I'm going to leave at least $5, and that's not even a crazy tip, but it's 25%, and that's usually my rule. Yeah.
I only wish that everybody was like you, bro.
But I will say this, though, Joe. If I go to a steakhouse...
No, you don't. No, he's a mental wreck.
That's true. That's true. Listen to Dennis. But if I go to a steakhouse and the bill is, let's just say, $500, and I'm out with a bunch of people, I'm probably not going to leave $200. If the bill is $500, if you leave $100, I think that, at least $100, I think that's fair. Would you say that's fair?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's that.
I'm not a server.
Right. I understand, and you're trying to make a living off of tips, though, just like a lot of other people in the industry. Joe, we're in agreement here. We are in 100% agreement, and I do appreciate your perspective, Joe, and I do hope people take care of you and tip you. And if they don't, I'm going to call them a moron too. And a lot of my callers probably won't like that. They'll think I'm going to lose my show if I call somebody a moron. If you take a cab ride with Joe. And you don't. If you don't take care of Joe, you're a moron.
Yeah, listen. You know what? We ought to start a new saying, Brian. When when you go out and you see somebody do that, they say, "Hey, what are you doing? Pulling a coocher? What are you doing?"
You know what? That's funny.
Don't be a cheap coocher. Come on.
JD, do you think we should use that on the show from now on? Don't pull a coocher.
Yeah.
Pulling a cooch again. You're pulling the cooch again. What are you doing?
I like that, actually.
I like calling him Mooch. I like him
Mooch.
being the new. Mariucci's done. It's now Matt Coocher.
He's the new Mooch. I've heard Pooch. I've heard Pooch. I've heard Mooch. I've heard a lot of different things, but you can't defend that type of behavior, man. And there are people out there like Joe that work in Las Vegas. This is a service industry town.
They rely on that.
Absolutely.
They rely on that.
Now, if the service isn't good, then that is a different conversation.
Absolutely.
Make no mistake about it.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it. I like to tip people for good service, but if it's not
good, if it's good, show your appreciation. If it's not good, let's have a conversation.
Exactly.
And just the more that I think about this, with it being that local course with that local caddy, if he's not the caddy, I don't think Kuchar wins that tournament now.
Probably not.
I actually don't think he wins that tournament.
Maybe it was a case of...
What do you think, Dennis?
I don't know. Dennis, that's a good question. I don't know.
That's a very good... We'll never know.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
I tend to agree with JD. Here's why. The guy hasn't won a tournament in 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay?
Or longer.
He happens to have a caddy who's on that golf course every day.
Yeah.
Kuchar probably doesn't have high expectations when that tournament starts.
Yeah.
Their chemistry was probably very good. It probably relaxed him. Who knows? And I would love to meet this guy one day. I would love to talk to this guy. I'm amazed in our society that there are people out there that side with Kuchar still. The people out there that have a problem with me calling a caller a moron. I mean, for defending this guy, yes, I think you are. It's not that I'm against a different opinion. People disagree with me every day. But when you disagree with this simple premise, not taking care of somebody, that is where I have a problem.
Especially when it's industry standard.
Right.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
And this guy he's a professional golfer. Yeah. He's part of an elite group of men that play golf at a high level, and when they win, they tip out accordingly.
You know, let's face it, it's pocket change for him. It's pocket change.
This does remind me a little bit of a scene in The Sopranos, though, when I believe it was Christopher Moltisanti and Paulie Walnuts walking out of a dinner that was like $1,000, and I guess Moltisanti was really angry because he had to fork up the bill, and then the waiter walks outside. It was a scene in Atlantic City. He says, "Was the service okay, guys?" And they're like, "Yeah, everything was fine." And I guess Moltisanti left $12, so the waiter obviously got angry, and then he said something along the lines of, "Go, piss it away at blackjack," and then Moltisanti hits him with a rock, and then he falls on the ground and he starts convulsing, and then they shoot him and kill him. We don't want that happening either.
No,
it just reminded me of that scene. It's a brutal scene. It's just awful. Yeah, if you have $1,000 bill, don't tip $12. It's probably not a good idea. But
not good.
But if you have a bunch of gangsters sitting at the table, you probably shouldn't go outside and complain about your tip.
Exactly.
Or in Goodfellas, when Moltisanti's character actually plays the dealer and Joe Pesci shoots him.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't the dealer. He was.
I think he was, wasn't he?
He was serving.
He was a cocktail. He was a cocktail.
He was serving. Yeah,
his name was Rabbit.
He was serving a gangster. I believe that's what happened,
Right.
and he got killed in that movie. I think that was his first role, if I'm not mistaken.
Isn't going to Denny's a step up for you when you mentioned it earlier? Yeah,
it is.
That's what I thought.
I prefer McDonald's dollar menu. That's what I prefer. But gosh, it's just amazing to me. It's like I talk about this all the time on our show, right? There's going to be things we're going to agree on. There's going to be things we're going to disagree on. If you don't like my style and you don't like what we do here, then change the channel. Go find another radio station. I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm going to be in your face. That's the way I've always been in 20 years of doing radio.
Yep.
And I don't mind people that disagree with me. Make your point. But if you're going to be snooty about it, then I'm gonna have a problem with that.
Yeah.
So that's all it is.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny, I'll tell you what we're going to do, buddy. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to be joined by Brian Salmon from Channel 3. So, Johnny, I think we're going to take an early break.
Yeah,
I know Ken Thompson's distracting you in the studio. It's what he always does. He always shows up early and distracts my producer. Drives me up a wall. Anyway, Johnny, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Brian Salmon, Channel 3, talk a little UNLV hoops. So stay tuned. We got Dennis Silvers, the golf guru, in studio across from J.D. Sharp, my co-host. Quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.